Students, अब चलेंगे हमारी थर्ड फिजिकल टोपोलॉजी की तरफ. The name is the bus topology. Students, bus topology, as you can see, unlike the previous two topologies which were based on point-to-point connections, in the mesh topology there was a point-to-point connection between every single devices. There was a point-to-point connection, dedicated connection between a device and a hub in the star topology. In this particular case of a bus topology, it is an example of a multi-point topology or a multi-point connection. Students, as you can see, there is a long bus or a backbone to which every single device is connected using a drop line and a tap. 3 nodes आपको नजर आ रही हैं इस बस टोपोलॉजी के एग्जांपल में. हर नोड एक ड्रॉप लाइन और टैप के जरिए आपकी जो बैकबोन है या आपकी जो मल्टी पॉइंट केबल है, सेंट्रलाइज केबल, उसके जरिए इस केबल में कनेक्टेड है. स्टूडेंट्स, टैप is nothing but a connector. It's a splice. We call it as a splice, and all it does is it allows the connection of a node, connection of a machine to that centralized link, to that backbone in a nice and efficient fashion. Students, once again, as you know, जब भी कभी multi-point के अंदर when the signal travels along the line, some of the energy it dissipates into heat. So the signal becomes weaker and weaker as it travels along this bus or along this backbone. So students, bus topology mein, we have got a limit on how many taps and how many drop lines we can have in one single bus, just because of the reason that as the signal travels along this bus, the energy is dissipated in the form of heat, and therefore the signal becomes weaker and weaker. Students, advantages bus topology ke, as you can clearly see, we have come from n into n minus 1 divided by 2 links in mesh to n links in star, and then in this particular case we have just got one backbone, so you only require one cable, one link, and all the computers are connected to that single link. So easy installation, less amount of cabling. Students, one of the major disadvantages in this topology is your fault identification and the fault isolation. So basically, when you try to add new devices or you try to isolate a fault, then this particular topology rarely works. If there is a fault or a break in the cable, it actually stops the whole transmission. Say from one cable end to the other cable end, if you're trying to send a message, if you're trying to send data, if there is a break between machine 1 and machine 2, the whole communication stops, and there is essentially nothing that can be transmitted along this bus. Students, moving on, we are going to talk about the ring topology. Students, once again, as you can see, every device has got a dedicated point-to-point link, but that dedicated point-to-point connection is only with the 2 devices on either side. Only with the 2 devices in the neighborhood, either sides. In this particular case, students, signal to be communicated, it is passed along this ring in only one direction. So if, for example, device A wants to send something to device B in this particular case, then it will follow the path of the message flow in this ring, which is clockwise, and it passes through this machine, it passes through the second machine or the node before it reaches its destination node, which is B. Students, it is the ring is very easy to install, very easy to reconfigure. You can simply insert devices as you deem fit or as is required within this ring. You only need to cut this cable or to do the connection by changing only 2 points, only 2 connections. But students, as you must have already noticed, आप लोग 3 topologies को देख चुके हैं. As you can see, because the direction of the data is only in one direction, in a simple ring, once again, if there is a break out here, essentially the whole communication stops. But we'll talk about this type in further detail, and you will see that there is a topology that the company IBM introduced, which is called as token ring, and that utilizes dual ring. So they essentially have another ring on the outside in which the direction of the traffic is opposite to the direction that we have in the outer ring. So if this internal ring breaks, the traffic is diverted onto this second ring and the traffic can still carry on. So there is a solution to that major disadvantage that we will study when we go into the further lectures. So students, physical topologies हमने देखी, 4 physical topologies: mesh, star, bus and ring. And as you'll see when we go forward in this course, in the topical discussion, we'll see that these topologies will appear alternatively. A combination of these topologies will appear alternatively in every single network that we are going to be talking about.